In Season 2, Part 3 of Unsealing You, we're flipping the script on what it means to thrive as a woman in today's professional world. Ardashir challenged us to rethink our approach to success, reminding us that seeking achievement and seeking fulfillment are two different paths. Achievement, as it's traditionally framed, is about chasing titles, accolades, and external validation. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is an inner state, an alignment with your values, your power, and your truth. Here's the secret most of us were never told. When you seek fulfillment first, achievement follows naturally. But when you chase achievement for its own sake, you often sacrifice your joy, your health, and your true self in the process. This is especially true for women navigating spaces designed by masculine ideals of success. Masculinity tends to teach, achieve first, then you'll feel fulfilled. But the feminine path shows us, fulfill yourself first, align with your intuition, your energy, your flow, and achievement becomes inevitable. Today's guest, Cam Kashani, is the embodiment of this truth. Known as the spiritual surgeon, Cam brings a bold, transformative message. Women have been taught to play small by chasing masculine definitions of success, and it's time to stop. Her story of moving from a place of self-doubt, disempowerment, and burnout to standing in her full divine feminine power is a roadmap for anyone ready to rewrite the rules. In this episode, we'll explore how beauty standards, cultural conditioning, and the need for external validation keep women stuck, and how stepping into your true feminine power can transform your life, your career, and the way you lead. Get ready for a conversation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about power, success, and fulfillment, and remind you that the real achievement is coming home to yourself.
Cam, so happy to have you here with us today. In today's professional world, women often are facing double standards. If they adopt a more masculine style, they're labeled as aggressive. But then if they emphasize the femininity in themselves, their authority is undermined. It's so freaking frustrating. So my question for you is, how do these conflicting beauty standards impact women's career advancement and the respect they receive in professional spaces?
Yeah, great question. And also thank you for having me. This is great. I'm excited. I might answer this a little controversially, a little different. First and foremost, if a woman tries to adopt a masculine's way of being, that is an absolute form of self-betrayal. We are not supposed to pretend to be like men. We are not supposed to compete with men. There is no competition. But women are playing small. Women are forgetting their power. Women aren't allowing themselves to stand in their true femininity. We haven't been shown a real example of a woman in her true divine feminine power. We have not been shown that. What that looks like is not something anyone can ever undermine. That power is so beautiful, so just infectious, so intimidating to some, because she knows her worth. She knows who she is. She has boundaries like no one else's business. No one can mess with her. She knows her worth to such an extent that if she's in an environment where that's not being honored, she leaves. And with no problem. She doesn't have the fear or the scarcity or the lack of, oh my gosh, I can't leave. What if? No, all of that becomes irrelevant. She trusts herself, she trusts her intuition, and she stands her ground and she stands in her power. So if a woman is sitting there on the other side of that and like, I'm going to force this into fruition, I'm going to be a man, I'm going to be aggressive. She's in her wounded masculine and in her wounded feminine. And therefore, all rules of the universe are conflicting for her. She no longer can magnetize opportunities towards her. She doesn't feel fulfilled. She's always chasing something that she will never get to. And she definitely doesn't understand her power and her.
This actually, to me, sounds like a vision of who we are. Can you share a story where someone was making herself small in that way and then embraced her goddess power and transformed everything for herself?
Can I share my story?
Absolutely.
I am the primest example of this. I am proof of what I do for women. So I grew up bullied my whole entire life. I was a chubby kid and I was always bullied for this. And I ended up adopting a belief that I am not lovable unless I am thin. I didn't know I did that. This was an unconscious belief that came in and sat in my subconscious mind. I had no idea, but this is what I ended up believing all throughout my life. I also believed that my voice would cause harm, and I believed that I had to play small because when my light was bright, no one wanted to be around me. So I ended up going through life all the way through my 30s. I ended up going through life in abusive relationships, in situations and events where I didn't know my power. I didn't let myself speak my truth, let alone know my truth. I legitimately didn't know what my truth was. How could I speak it if I don't know what it is? I had no self-awareness. I was the ultimate people pleaser. I had all the self-doubt in the world. My inner dialogue was my biggest enemy. She would constantly tell me I'm not enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough. What do I know? I'm stupid. I can't go out there amongst all these people and do this and do that. And so I let myself stay small. I let myself stay dim. And it was comfortable. There was an element of comfort in that, but it was also really unfulfilling, and I wasn't happy. I always had a smile on my face, but I wasn't happy. And so I went through a divorce, and this divorce ended up being the biggest blessing in my life because the divorce led me to the space of the inner work. I hired a coach. I read books. I did seminars. I dove headfirst into who am I and what am I here for? Because everything I was doing led me to nothing.
Right.
Led me to starting out all over again as a single mom with twin boys that were only 1.5 at the time.
Wow.
My career that was such a great career in the tech world was basically over because I owned the business with my previous partner. And so I lost my business in the divorce. I literally started from nothing. So
Wow.
I knew I had to make a change. I knew that there's something in me, and I'm not about to sit here and be a victim. There's something in me that needs to change. So I really did a lot of work, a lot of work. And in less than a year, which is not a lot of time, I had such miraculous transformations, and I finally found my voice. And in such a way that I would walk into a room with full power, full command, and everyone's like, oh, wow, there's Cam. And I went, oh, wow, there's Cam. I got invited to go to Kuwait by the United States State Department. This was during this exact time, right when I was having these breakthroughs. And I was invited to be a speaker for women and the youth to help empower them in the Middle East in a really beautiful program they used to have that was proven to help against extremism. And so I was interacting with I was interacting with politicians. I was interacting with, the higher level people. And I remember sitting in the home of the US ambassador at that point, speaking my truth from such a space of groundedness. That was my aha moment where I was like, who is this woman and where has she been hiding this whole entire time?
Wow.
Just a year ago, I was crying myself to sleep every night and on drinking and on prescription medication, trying to figure out who I am.
Wow.
All of a sudden, here she is in front of the US ambassador, in front of the big name people from the most grounded, most empowered space, speaking my truth. And they all looked at me like, wow, you're right. The respect that I earned at that table was because of the respect I had for myself.
Now there's some wisdom right there.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, Cam, it's so funny to hear you say that you didn't feel you're beautiful. I was talking to my friends and saying, look, I have such great people that are coming on to this next season. And they all saw your picture, said, wow, she's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that now. I appreciate hearing it. Thank you. But back then, I'm telling you, I had no idea. If somebody would tell me you're beautiful or pretty, I would turn bright red and be like, oh my God, no, I'm not. You are.
And now you say thank you.
Yeah. And now I receive it.
That is so great. Now, so you are called the spiritual surgeon, and you've seen firsthand how these deep wounds around who we are can affect our self-worth. You've seen it firsthand for yourself, and I'm sure you're seeing it in other people. It's kind of like, when I play tennis, and when I realize I'm hitting the ball incorrectly, I could see it in everybody else all of a sudden. So in what ways do traditional standards keep us feeling small? And, how do we get out of our own head, get away from that inner critic that is stopping us from doing all that?
I think the first step is understanding that these external beauty standards are all a lie. No one is talking about the fact that, from the moment we are conceived inside of our mother's womb, we are receiving her set of programming. Whatever she believes about herself, good or bad, we are receiving it. We are born and we are immediately programmed and conditioned with a whole other set of lies, right? You need to look this way. You need to be this thin. You need to be this, your skin, your weight, your whatever. Like, we are conditioned with you are not enough as women. And this is intentional. This is intentional. It was started whenever they decided to call God a man. It goes back thousands of years. And the reason they did that is because when a woman is chasing her worth in a cream, in a job, in a husband, in her children, when she's chasing it, she will always forget who she is. So this is done by design because there is nothing more powerful than a woman in her power. She cannot be controlled. But right now, we're all being controlled. And we're all agreeing to it. This is the problem. Yeah. By allowing yourself to sit in that consciousness of, I need to make sure I lose 10 pounds. I need to make sure I, go and fix this and fix that and look this way and do this for everyone who's not doing anything for me. You are agreeing to being disempowered. So understand, and this is something I speak on a lot and teach a lot, that all of this is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's all a lie. When I finally got to that place and I understood that, it gave me such a sense of freedom. Finally, I'm like, woo. So, because like I said, I grew up with my weight was a thing. And, now that I look back at it, it was my inner child's way of protecting herself, because I was so sensitive and so empathetic, and I am an intuitive. It was like that layer of protection is what I needed in order to be able to feel safe in this world. But instead, everyone comes and says, you're fat, you're chubby, you're this, you're that. And I believed all that about myself. And now I look back at her and I look back at my whole life. My weight's always gone up and down. And it's because my body has been serving me. My body has been protecting me. She's been loving me this whole time. And what did I do? I took amphetamines for 20 years, up and down, prescription amphetamines. I was bulimic. I starved myself. I went and I worked out so much that my nervous system and my other parts of my body just went, crazy. It's all this cortisol. And so finally I came to this place where I'm like, man, follow that. Do I really want to spend my life hating and judging myself? Do I want to lay on my deathbed one day and say, I would have been so much happier if I were thinner? Or, on the inverse of that, like to look back at myself and say, I didn't live my life.
Right.
Because I was chasing something instead of just being.
Right.
Instead of just loving. It's sad. And that was the moment where I just went, all of this, man. My weight goes up and down, whatever. I can still decide to be happy. It's a choice.
I love that. So we see quite a few cultural shifts right now, especially in America. And so I'd love to get your take on this, especially when you're like, screw all that. Those are not the rules I need to follow. And so when we see these cultural shifts, these changing political landscapes, you're not supposed to be saying DEI. You're not supposed to be really owning your own power, being the goddess, the divine goddess you're supposed to be. There's this pressure to conform to certain ideals. What do you say to folks that are dealing with this right now in the workplace?
You have a lot of work to do. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You need to invest in yourself and stop letting them decide who you are. And remember who you are. You are a sovereign being. You have that choice. You can literally go to work tomorrow and tell them all off. None of you actually matter, because they don't. None of the titles and the, whatever, salary and all this stuff, does any of it matter if you're not being your true self? Does any of it matter if you're not fully in love with yourself? How many women have I coached that quit their jobs?
How many?
Many. And the ones who didn't went right up to their bosses and said, I need a higher salary or I'm leaving. Because she remembered her worth. That's it. That's all it is. So if you are stuck in these environments where you're putting yourself there, by the way, it's not anyone else's fault but your own. Stop blaming the patriarchy. I never use that word. I don't like it because it means you are a victim. Stop blaming anything outside of you. You put it there. And you put you there. So if you really want to make some changes, work with a coach like me, go read some really great books, go do some seminars, find a really beautiful women's community. We have a really beautiful women's community, a very supportive environment. Go to a space where you can remember who you really are instead of being so conditioned and programmed to who they want you to be.
And that is taking radical responsibility for your life. And it's also about, I mean, you just put it right there, black and white, like you are responsible for you.
Yeah. 100%. No one's going to save you. No one's going to save you. The only one who saves you is you. I was the one who saved myself. And once I saved myself and found myself and remembered my power, the man that I am now married to is the absolute mirror and reflection of that. Before that, I was attracting a bunch of wounded men also. So this applies not only in the workplace, but in relationships, in friendships, in everything. Do you know, I don't have one old friend because all of them knew the old version of me and they couldn't handle the new version of me.
Wow.
And I love myself so much that I let them go.
Hey. And there is also letting that workplace go. That's not going to support the full you.
That's it. If they don't like you in your power, if they can't handle you in your power, bye.
There
Go
you
find
go.
somewhere that will, or start your own business. You know, this big problem is that the corporate world is very much under a masculine structure. Women don't do well in a masculine structure. We're supposed to work on our own flow. We have a 28-day cycle that they don't have. Men have a 24-hour testosterone cycle. Our biology is completely different. You know, there are times when I'm working, close to my cycle, and I'm like, I need to take a couple of days off. I need to honor myself right now. I need to just be with me. I have some emotions coming up. I have some healing to do, and I need to focus on myself. Everyone else can wait. But you don't have that freedom necessarily in a corporate job, right? So,
Right.
And not to say it's right or wrong. If you choose to stay in that and it gives you what you want, by all means, go ahead. But many women that I have worked with have understood this and realized this to a core level where they end up leaving their jobs and starting their own businesses.
So with your latest venture, Divinus LVX, dedicated to awakening the divine feminine, you've addressed how external standards can undermine your self-worth. How do you translate this into the challenges for professional respect and leadership for women? I think that you've touched on a lot of that, but I'd love for you to go further and talk about mindset shifts, which, like, you are bringing us through a mindset shift right now by saying, hey, this is it. This is how it is. Talk more about your project.
Sure. So it's actually pronounced Divinus Lux.
Thank you.
Of course, but it is a V. So understandable. It's kind of like how Bulgari looks like Bavulgari, you know. It's a Latin word and it means divine light. It translates to divine light. Me and my business partner, who is also my best friend, we came together after healing our own feminine wounds and masculine wounds because we all carry both energies, right? Men and women, we both carry. It's the yin and the yang. I carry masculine, feminine. We all carry masculine, feminine. And if either one of them is off, we're going to show up in our wounded masculine or our wounded feminine. So her and I came together, and both of us being trained and certified and whatnot in different things, very, very complementary. And we were like, we need to remind women, and it's a remembering, which is why I keep saying remind. It's not something that your soul doesn't know. Your soul and your body knows your power. But we've been so conditioned and in many ways fed poison with the diets that we have that we are so disconnected from our truth and so disconnected from our intuition and our signal. So we came together to help remind women and offer certain tools, programs, and whatnot for them to come back into their power. And in terms of like mindset shifts, if your mindset is in a space where you believe that your beauty or the way that you look will result in respect, you have a lot of work to do. A woman's beauty has nothing to do with what she looks like. A woman's beauty has everything to do with her energy and everything to do with her innate power. And what she looks like is absolutely perfect. But we are so conditioned to be the exact opposite, to believe the exact opposite. And we're shown that. And how many women are buying into this? I mean, with this OnlyFans culture and all these things, it's like there's just this negative portrayal of what a true woman really is and what her power really is. So it's important to begin to do the work to reframe your thoughts. So like I said, before I started doing the work, my inner dialogue was really dark. And what did I do? Journaling exercises to begin to fully reframe my inner dialogue. Every time I had a negative thought come up, I would write it down. And wow, by the end of the day, I was like, really? This is how I talk to myself? Holy crap. What? How am I ever going to get anywhere believing this about myself?
Yeah.
Your thoughts are so powerful. So powerful. Our thoughts are so powerful. And if we're walking around with any type of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not whatever, you will create it. You will create exactly that. It's not the world's fault, it's yours. Your soul called all of this stuff in for you to heal and evolve and to remember your power. We are in a space right now in the world where the divine feminine is rising. She's been waiting patiently for us this whole time. Her energy has been there. She's been waiting for us to remember. And slowly but surely, we are finally at that place where we are beginning to remember. That's why we're having this conversation. This conversation couldn't have happened 10 years ago. We're finally at a place where the energy and the consciousness is rising and women are remembering that enough is enough. And how dare you disrupt my power? It's time for me to take it back. It's time for me to remember who I am. And once women remember who they are, the world will transform overnight. And so bringing it back to our company, we offer the tools to help you do this. We offer coaching, of course. We have a women's community that I mentioned that's an online Zoom community. You can be anywhere in the world and be a part of our community. It's a small community right now, but growing beautifully. It's a really sacred, safe space where you have sisterhood, which is another thing that women have forgotten. All that jealousy and envy and comparison energy. And how come she looks like that? And how come her life is like that? And what social media has resulted in? All of this is a sister wound. This goes back also thousands of years. Women need to support one another, love one another, lift one another up. So that's what Amber and I are doing. My business partner. We're here to help women uplift and remember and heal. Heal, 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 heal. Because it's you that's creating this external world. All the problems that we see on the outside world is because individually we're holding on to this darkness inside of us. So the more we heal every little last thing, the more the world will shift as a result. Outer experience is a reflection of inner reality.
The message that you share, I love how crystal clear you make it. The interesting thing is that each one of my guests say something similar, but in a different way. You really crystallize it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And it's none of my guests know each other, but yet they're saying the exact same thing in a sense of your thoughts create reality and you need to clear out those thoughts. The thing I love about the way that you present it is feminine energy. I have never heard that from someone before, the way that you put it. And to me, it feels like, let's embrace the goddess in us.
Yes. Yes. We are the goddess.
Yeah.
We are the goddess. You can literally, we have really cool tools that we teach where you can step into your goddess like this. Just step into it. It's not all the way over there. It's literally available right here. The field, the energetic field is holding her. All you need to do is step into her. It's beautiful.
And it's like, okay, so the hard part is identifying your negative thoughts, but the easy part is stepping into your goddess.
Yes, I would actually say the hard part is a very crucial part of all of the healing, which is inner child work. That's going to be the hardest part. Yeah, because a lot of women are disconnected from their inner child because you've never spoken to her. Mm-hmm. And it takes time to build trust for her to show up, for her to feel safe with you, and then once you do, she starts showing you memories and she starts showing you things. And the work is to hold her through it, love her through it, reparent her, and reframe these situations and events that happened, because the one that's acting up is not your adult self. It's the inner child, but we are disintegrated. We're not integrated with our healthy child inside. We have a scared little girl on the inside, or a little girl that needs attention, So it's important to do the work to integrate that. That's probably the more challenging aspect of things. And that also helps with the inner dialogue.
And I think that there's probably no one better to help a person with that work than you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to tie it together to let our listeners know, and how do they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would like to share that Amber and I have created a really very powerful 8-week program that we will be releasing, I want to say, in the next couple of months, that is all about reprogramming your self-doubt and getting you to a place where you're in your power. It's a very, very powerful program, and it's a very affordable program. It's something that we're really excited about. So if that calls to anybody, by all means, check us out on our website, subscribe to our email list. And I think it would be a really beautiful journey. And I want to close with, as difficult and as triggering as some of this work can be, because it is, you're going to be confronted with your own shadow. There is no shadow darker than your own. So it's not easy. I remember being so triggered when I had to see my truth and how I viewed myself. And I was like, oh my God, it's been me this whole time. So as triggering as this work might be, is there anything in the world more rewarding than remembering who the you are at a core level where no one can ever with you again? There is nothing more rewarding. It is the most beautiful, fulfilling, difficult work that exists. And the more women that do it, our energy in the feminine field begins to feed one another. And it becomes a little bit easier because we're all doing it together. That's how energy works. I'll close with that. And if you want to find me, Instagram is a place where I'm active, and that's at @cam_Kashani. And of course, my website, divinuslux.com.
Excellent. And then when your program launches, let me know. I'll help promote it.
Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Women supporting women, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
What an incredible reminder from Cam today. Your power isn't something you need to chase. It's something you remember. When you stop performing, stop pleasing, and start reclaiming your voice, your energy speaks for you. And as Cam shared, the real work happens when we shift from wounded patterns to rooted power. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about unsealing the truth of who you already are. And speaking of shifting mindsets, in our next episode, we meet the fierce and Lyons, host of Don't Be Caged by Your Age. She'll challenge everything you thought you knew about aging and ambition, whether you're 35 or 65. Andy reminds us, reinvention doesn't have an expiration date. So here's what I'd love you to do next. Download this episode. It helps more than you know. Downloads show potential sponsors and advertisers that the podcast matters, and it makes it easier for you to listen on the go, anytime, anywhere. Until next time, keep taking radical responsibility. The ripple's already started.